Hello there, and welcome. Another day, another game outside, and we get to listen to the dim sounds of summer joy. Okay, so today I want to talk about activities, and I'm just going to suggest some, and then I'm going to suggest ways to approach them, and encourage you to be thinking, what would I like, and what could I tolerate? And how could I use this in my room? So one of the things about activities, especially a well-designed activity, is really you're teaching students how to study in general when you use an activity. So let's go to my favorite example, which is vocabulary. I'm a language arts, English kind of person, and I love vocabulary. But I think vocabulary can apply to lots of things, and if not vocabulary, then let's say in a history context, let's say we were in John's history context, let's say we wanted them to learn the Bill of Rights, okay? We wanted them to know all of the Bill of Rights, not just the first 10, but all of them, right? That's a good challenge, because I'd be willing to bet that if you went out on the street and started asking people, how many rights are on the Bill of Rights, they might struggle to know. And they should know. Or I oftentimes would generate vocabulary words from the books that we were reading or the stories we were reading. And we would have a vocabulary activity for every novel. And so, and of course, if you're teaching science, there's lots of things you can put on a vocabulary list. If you're teaching mathematics, you can put down properties, you can put down identities, all sorts of stuff like that. So the first thing I'm going to say about activities is it's a good idea to have students involve themselves in creating them physically. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you have a vocabulary list that you want the kids to do. So one way to do it, if you don't really want to look at anything they've handwritten, you could, in the simplest terms, hand out a vocabulary list to them and then randomly assign to kids the word on the vocabulary list, and you could turn on a projector that's connected to your computer or an overhead projector that you can draw on, or a smartboard, and have each kid provide a definition, look up a definition, and then you write the definition up and they copy your writing onto their papers. Now that's not a great activity, but it's good because it gets them writing and it gets them participating. So that's pretty good. That's good. Or you could, if you were a little braver and a little bit more relaxed, you could say, look, I'm going to hand out the vocabulary list, and you guys are going to copy down the definitions, but one at a time you're going to come up and you'll type the definition while another student reads it to you, okay? Now this can be a little tricky because some kids are going to be really good at typing and some kids are going to be but I tell you what, right now our coming generation, because they're spending all their time on computers and keyboards and stuff like that, they'll be fine. Even if they hunt and peck with 2 fingers, they can do it, okay? Or you could like designate that each kid comes up and types a definition from, they can look at their phones if you want to allow that, or whatever way you want to do it. But remember, you want them all to be writing things down and you want them to all be contributing. By writing these things down, they're actually learning things in more than one way. If they see the definition, hear the definition, write the definition, if you think about it, that's a form of study because they're doing kinesthetic, auditory, and visual learning all at the same time. So it reinforces it. The more you can have them do an activity where they're reinforcing what they need to know, the better off you are. And in this case, I think one of the great gifts of humankind is the flashcard, whether it's lined or blank. You can, let's say, instead of the Bill of Rights, although imagine Bill of Rights flashcards where it just has Amendment 5. And on the back, it has the amendment, maybe in their own words. And then not only do they have this kinesthetic and auditory and visual stimuli, but they can use it to study. They can say, you know what, read me the stuff on the back and I'll tell you what amendment it is. Now, the thing is, when you're creating these activities, part of what you're doing is you are establishing the good habits of students. So writing things down, cooperating with your fellow students, sharing things, these are all important parts of the scholarly life. Scholars share, scholars talk, scholars contribute. And this idea of reinforcing that will also help them be good students in other classes. And I can remember people saying to me, nobody taught me how to study. Well, then there was nobody in your school that was really aware of what helped them learn things, right? Because it's really easy to forget what someone says to you. Even if you're pretty brilliant, it's easy to forget what someone says to you. But if you're just of normal intelligence, you forget a lot of stuff. So part of the ways to study about things is to reinforce them by writing them down, by saying them out loud, by looking at them. You absolutely can be better and know more if you study more. And activities are best designed if they help improve the hardened knowledge of the subject. So I really want to suggest that you pick an activity that you think would be fun for you, for the students to do. And what I would say to my students, and I've said this in an interview, I would say to my students, somebody's going to have fun in here today. It may just be me, but somebody's going to have fun. And that's really a wonderful thing, because shockingly enough, giving yourself permission to enjoy it will give them permission to enjoy it too, even the ones that don't like you. And I must say, students aren't going to like you all the time. Nobody is universally beloved. I mean, think of how beloved Jesus is, and yet he still had Judas in his graduate class. So, you know. And I had a student who hated me for half a year because she didn't like the outfit I chose for the first day. She told me this. She learned to like me, but it wasn't automatic. And it's okay. It's okay if a student doesn't like you. It's okay. They still need to cooperate, and you need to cooperate. So it's okay to not like each other as long as you are respectful and kind. You can learn to appreciate each other even if you don't necessarily mesh personally. That's it for today. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon. You gorgeous people.